Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to look at another application of the if, COUNTIF, and SUMIF functions. Here we have a number of transactions based on a few different items. Each item has a unit price, a quantity, and the total cost, which is a simple product of unit price times quantity. We also would like to be able to calculate a discount, but only if the total cost is more than or equal to $100. In that case, I would like to apply a 5% discount. Otherwise, there's no discount. The final cost then is the total cost subtract the discount amount. So in order to calculate the discount amount, I'm going to need to check whether or not the total cost is more than or equal to $100. So I'm going to use an if function. Equal sign if, in this case F7, is greater than or equal to 100. If that is true, I would like to calculate the discount amount. So that the value of true here, it's not just a label to display, but an actual calculation. I'm going to multiply the 5% times the total cost. Otherwise, the discount amount is going to be 0. So we see here where the total cost is $40, the discount amount is 0. Now, before I copy this formula down, I'm going to have to make a slight change. Because when I copy the formula down, I actually see there are some problems here. Some of my references are changing when I do not want it to. So back to my first formula here, and I do not want the reference to this discount to change, that is C2. So I'm going to use dollar signs, copy my function, and here we have the discounts. I'm going to apply some formatting, currency formatting in this case. So where we have the total cost being under $100, there is no discount amount. And where the total cost is greater than or equal to $100, a discount is calculated, 5% of the total cost. And here we have the final cost for each item. If I wanted to change my discount percent, 5% here, to let's say 10%, so that's 0.1, I can do so very easily because I have the discount percent in a separate cell rather than in this function here. I used a reference to C2, cell C2 instead. I can actually do the same for my boundary condition, the $100, if I wanted to make that flexible as well. Below here now, we have a number of values that we want calculated. For instance, what was the total amount of money made from notebooks, from pens, from pencils, from rulers? We would like the total sum of money relating to notebooks. So I'm going to use SUMIF. So if the transaction items here is equal to notebook in B21, then I would like to add up this final cost here, representing the amount of money being made. I'm going to have to use some absolute references here because there are certain values that I don't want changed. I do not want this range to change when I copy the function, and I do not want this range to change when I copy the function. So I'm going to use absolute referencing for the ranges. I'm copying the functions now, and let's use some formatting. Great. So we can see the amount of money that was made from each item. What about the number of transactions now? Here we are counting. Equal count if in this range of values, is it a notebook? So I'm going to count up all the transactions that involved a notebook. There were 5 transactions involving notebooks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, I do not want this range of cells to change when I copy my function, so I'm going to use absolute referencing before I copy. So here I'm seeing that there were 3 transactions involving pens, 1, 2, 3. There were 2 transactions involving pencils, 1, 2, and 1 transaction involving a ruler here. What about the number of items sold? How many actual notebooks were sold? This involves the quantity. So for all of the transactions involving notebooks, I would actually like to add up the quantities. So let's see how that works. Equal sum if the item description is a notebook, I would like to add up the quantity. So these here represent the actual number of items sold. Now we want to find out how many transactions were there where the final cost was more than or equal to $100, and how many transactions were there where the final cost was less than $100. So since I'm finding the number of transactions, I will use COUNTIF equal COUNTIF this range of values for final cost. Within this range, I am looking to see which transactions were more than or equal to $100. So to put in this criteria, I need to use quotation marks, more than, equal to, $100, close quotation marks, close brackets. There were 3 transactions that were more than or equal to $100. Let's do now for less than $100. So again, we use COUNTIF equal sign COUNTIF for the range of values for final cost. I would like my criteria to be that the final cost is less than $100. So this criteria is going to be written as open quotation marks less than $100 close quotation marks close brackets, and there were 8 transactions that were less than $100. So this video showed some variations on how we can use the if, COUNTIF, and SUMIF function.